Hi everyone, welcome to USA Pan. I am Nikki and today we're going to take you through our day here at USA Pan, showing you some of our favorite meals and what we like to eat in our USA Pans. So we're going to be making breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I'm going to start things off with breakfast. I'm going to be making a French toast casserole and bacon. And I'm going to do both of these in the USA Pan. For breakfast, I'm going to start with the French toast casserole in our 9x13 rectangular cake pan. And that's this pan right here. And then the bacon I'm gonna do in the half sheet pan. So this recipe is perfect for a weekend or a special holiday, or if you're having guests over. What makes it even better is that you can make it in advance and store it in the refrigerator overnight. With things like this, I like to take advantage of my freezer as well. You could make this whole dish, this French toast casserole, make two, throw one in the freezer for a later date when you're strapped for time. But I'm gonna start out by slicing up my bread. I've got a loaf of crusty bread here. I'm just gonna slice this into cubes. When you're making, obviously, a recipe like this, you do not want a soft bread. You want something that's gonna be crusty, that's gonna be able to soak up all of the custard that we're gonna use in the French toast. If you have the time, you could slice your bread the night before and leave it sit on the counter. I didn't do that here, but that's one tip. Or if you feel like your bread might be a little too soft, you could put it on one of our half sheet pans and throw it in a warm oven for a little while. That will help dry it out as well. So I'm gonna cube this up and set it aside. I have one loaf here. This is enough for the 9x13 for one casserole. If you were gonna make two, you'd obviously double that. I'm gonna set the bread aside. In my saucepan here, I have 1 stick of butter or half a cup. I'm gonna go ahead and melt this over medium heat. Once this is melted, I'm then gonna go in with a cup of brown sugar and let that sugar dissolve. Okay, so I've melted the butter and stirred in the brown sugar and let the sugar crystals dissolve. I'm gonna take this and pour it into the bottom of my USA Pan 9x13. This is my family's favorite part of this dish. It just gives a really obviously sweet, caramelized kind of texture on the bottom of that French toast casserole. You don't even need to spread it, you just kind of move it around. You can see the nonstick of the USA Pan. So now I'm gonna take 6 eggs and whisk them into this bowl with 2 cups of milk. To the egg milk mixture, I'm gonna add a pinch of salt and then about a teaspoon of ground cinnamon and then about a teaspoon of vanilla extract. All right, I'm gonna set that aside. I'm gonna take my bread cubes and just scatter them across the top of this brown sugar butter mixture. I'm just gonna pour the egg milk mixture right on top of those bread cubes. At this point in the recipe, this is when you would cover this with some aluminum foil and place it in your refrigerator overnight. If you don't have time to do that, you don't necessarily have to. It's just gonna allow that bread to absorb all of that egg mixture and be just more delicious. But like I said, you don't have to do it. I'm gonna set this aside and show you guys how I do my bacon, and then we'll finish this off and put those in the oven at the same time. So here I have my USA Pan baking sheet. This is a half sheet pan. And half sheet pan is just a size. This is the size of this pan, and it has a rimmed edge all around it. It's important for baking this recipe because bacon lets out a lot of grease. I'm going to use parchment paper. If you are going to be using any kind of recipe or ingredient that lets out a lot of fat, you're gonna wanna line your USA Pan because bacon gets cooked at a very high temperature, and you're gonna basically be frying this bacon in this pan, and you want to protect the non-stick of your USA Pan. So I'm gonna go in here with some parchment paper on the bottom, and then I have my bacon over here, and I'm just gonna line that on the bottom of this baking sheet. I mean, if you wanted to do sausage, you could do that as well, but I think bacon just pairs really well with the sweetness of the French toast casserole. It's like you get the little salty sweet combo. If you need to overlap your bacon here, that's fine because it's gonna shrink up in the oven as you cook it. So I've got my bacon lined up on my sheet pan, my half sheet pan. Obviously I've lined it. It's gonna help with the cleanup as well because this is gonna get a little messy. I'm going to put the bacon in a preheated 400-degree oven. Depending on how you like your bacon, this could take 15 to 25 minutes. You're gonna wanna check it. I'm using a little bit thicker cut of bacon, so I will let you know how long I'm gonna cook this for. Back to the French toast casserole. I'm going to take a tablespoon of brown sugar and another teaspoon of cinnamon and top this with. The French toast casserole is gonna go into a preheated 425-degree oven for about 20 to 30 minutes. One tip when you're baking with USA Pan, because they are made of aluminized steel, they heat up and retain heat so efficiently that you may want to check on your recipes a few minutes before the suggested baking time because they just bake so well. Okay, welcome back. It is smelling so good in here. I swear you want your family to wake up, just throw this bacon in the oven. We baked our French toast casserole for 25 minutes. It's still warm. You can see the bacon I pulled out. I want to show y'all how nice this is. You're not standing over a hot frying pan flipping bacon. You can see how nicely browned it is. I'm gonna pick up the corner of this parchment to show you underneath that the pan is perfectly clean, so that this is my favorite way to make bacon. So this is the French toast casserole. It smells so good. It just smells so warm and inviting. If you live in a cold place like I do, this is such a nice fall, winter breakfast to make. I'm gonna dust mine with some powdered sugar, and I'm gonna go in and throw some berries on the top of this. I'm gonna serve this up and show you guys. You can see how clean the pan came. That is our Americoat proprietary non-stick coating on our USA Pan. That turned out beautiful. It smells so good, so delicious, perfect for a holiday morning. And show y'all the bottom part where that brown sugar butter mixture is so delicious. This is still really hot, but I'm gonna go in. That is comfort food, perfect. The bacon, perfectly crisp, delicious. This is one of our favorite breakfasts. I hope that if you have these USA Pans, you will try this recipe as well, and we will see you for lunch.
Welcome to lunch. Hi, my name's Corinne. I'm usually behind the camera, but today I get the honor of being in front of the camera and showing you guys what I will be making for lunch. We had Nikki show us what she made for breakfast, and it was delicious. It was so, so good. So I'm hoping that my lunch idea is okay. But today we are going to be making pita bread pizza. Very fast, very easy. You're just putting ingredients together and baking it. So that's what we're going to be doing today. So first of all, we've got our base, which is our pita bread. Then we've got pizza sauce, pepperoni, mozzarella, and chopped basil. I'm going to be using USA Pan's jelly roll pan for this pita bread pizza because it's the perfect size to fit 2 pita bread pizzas in. Look at that. It fits perfectly. You can make 2 pizzas on this jelly roll pan. So we've got our pita bread on our pan, and I'm just gonna take our pizza sauce and start putting it on there and spreading it around. And the thing with this too is you can customize your pita bread. You can use whatever you want. You can add meat, you can add veggies. I know a lot of recipes also, you can do buffalo chicken pita bread pizzas, which I think is a really cool idea. But today we're just sticking with the traditional pepperoni and cheese pizza. Right, so we've got our sauce, and then we're gonna take our cheese and put our cheese on there. Oh, you know what? I forgot to preheat my oven. We're going to preheat the oven to 350. Okay, now we're gonna take pepperoni and just place our pepperoni right over top of the cheese. We're filming this at the perfect time because it is currently lunchtime here at USA Pan. So I'm gonna make some pita bread pizzas for everyone. Now that we have our pizza assembled, we're gonna go ahead and put this into our preheated 350-degree oven for about 10 to 12 minutes. But I would definitely check it throughout because you might not need the whole 10 minutes. It's just to get your pita bread crunchy, your cheese melted, and everything just hot and ready. Look at that. Wow. Look at how good these look. To finish these off, we're gonna go ahead and sprinkle some chopped basil right on top. Look at that, just easy, slides right off. You can clean this pan up in literally 3 seconds. You could just eat the pizza like this, but for the sake of the video, I'm gonna go ahead and just cut it into 4 pieces. And then there you have it, your own little personal pan pita bread pizza. And look how good that looks. Let's go ahead and try this. Ready? Do a little happy dance. So good, so fast, easy cleanup. Really, all you have to do is just take a wet paper towel, wipe the pan down, and you're good to go. So there you go. This is what USA Pan made for lunch today, and let's go ahead and see what we've got ready for dinner.
Welcome to dinner time. Today we're going to show you how to make cheesy chicken lasagna roll-ups. We're going to be doing those in our 9-inch square pan. This is great for like casseroles, baked pastas, that kind of thing. And we're going to be serving this with a side of roasted broccoli. You could also pair this with a side salad, or green beans would be great too. Let's get started. I'm going to make a quick little filling here. We're going to do a cheese sauce to add to that, and I'm going to show you how to assemble this. It's pretty easy. And then I'm going to go into here with a cup of ricotta cheese. Over here I have fresh mozzarella that I've grated, and I have about 1.5 cups. I'm going to put about 1 cup into this filling. I'm going to save like 1/2 cup to put on top of these when they are finished, when we bake those off. I'm going to add just like a pinch of salt and pepper to this as well. I'm going to set this aside and get working on my cheese sauce. So I have a sauce pot here that I'm going to add 4 tablespoons of butter. I'm going to melt that. Add 1 garlic clove that I've minced. We've got 1.5 cups of cream, heavy cream, 1.5 cups of Parmesan, and some seasonings, and I'll show you how to make the sauce. Once the cream has simmered, the cream and the butter has simmered, I'm gonna throw in some salt and pepper, freshly grated nutmeg. I'm gonna add some 1/2 teaspoon of Italian seasoning and 1/2 teaspoon of garlic. Stir that in. I'm gonna remove this from the heat, and then I'm gonna add in the Parmesan cheese. Now I'm going to go in here with that 1.5 cups of freshly grated Parmesan. So now we're going to go back to our ricotta mixture, and we're going to finish the filling for these lasagna roll-ups. Right here I have 2 cups of chicken that I've diced up into small pieces. I took a shortcut and used a rotisserie chicken. You can really use whatever kind of chicken that you have. Even if you wanted to buy some ground chicken and brown that up and use it, that would work here as well. Leftover chicken from dinner, or even turkey, and you wanted to use it up, you can certainly put it into here as well. So now I'm going to take 1/3 cup of this cheese sauce that we just made, and I'm going to stir it into the filling. Now we're going to get ready to assemble these. Now I should have mentioned this earlier. You're going to need 9 lasagna noodles that you're going to cook just shy of al dente, because these are going to cook when they're in the oven a second time, so you don't want to cook them too far. So I have cooked my lasagna noodles, and I put a little oil on them so they don't stick. I've laid them out here on one of our extra large sheet pans just to make assembly and cleanup easier. I'm going to take my 9x9 square pan. I am going to ladle a little bit of the sauce in the bottom of the pan here. Just spread that out. We're going to take this filling and divide it equally among the 9 noodles. It should be about 1/3 cup. I'm just going to take the filling and spread it on here. We're just going to take these on one end and roll them up. Not too tight, not too loose. Roll it up just like that and set it in the bottom of our pan. So we've got all of the roll-ups in our 9x9 pan. I'm going to take the rest of that cheese sauce and pour it over the top, and then take our reserved mozzarella that we saved and sprinkle that on top as well. These are going to get covered with foil. We're going to bake these in a preheated 350-degree oven for 25 minutes, and I'm going to show you how I do the broccoli. For our side dish to go with our lasagna roll-ups, I'm just going to do some simple roasted broccoli. In order to do this, I have cut the broccoli into similar sized pieces. We've laid them out on our half-sheet pan here. This pan is really versatile pan. Goes from breakfast, lunch, to dinner, to dessert. So if you're looking to buy one pan, this is the pan. Got my broccoli on here. I'm just going to drizzle it with some olive oil, salt, and pepper. I'm going to roast it in a preheated 400-degree oven for about 12 to 15 minutes. Depending on the doneness that your family likes. If you like it crispier, you're going to roast it longer. If you like it with more of a bite to it, you're going to roast it for less time. Once that comes out, I'm just gonna sprinkle a little bit of Parmesan cheese, and that is gonna be it for this. Okay, we are back. Our lasagna roll-ups have baked, the broccoli has baked. I'm gonna take a little parm and sprinkle it over the broccoli while it's nice and warm. And then I've chopped a little bit of parsley. I'm gonna go ahead and add some color to these lasagna roll-ups. You know, I should mention too, when you're making a recipe like this, at least for me, for my family, it's just as easy to double it. And prior to putting it in the oven, wrap it up and freeze it. And that way you have a whole meal just ready to go in the freezer. So this is looking and smelling really good. So good. Broccoli, also very nice. I like mine a little crispy, so I didn't make it too roasted. Very good. Pairs very well together. I hope you enjoyed our dinner episode. And stay tuned, we have one more for you. We're gonna do dessert. Welcome back to the kitchen. We are now moving on to my favorite part of the day, which is dessert. I'm going to be making chocolate chip cookie bars in our 8x8 square pan. These are super simple, easy to make, and I bet most of you already have all the ingredients in your pantry. These are perfect for a weeknight meal because they come together so quickly and easily. I'm not even gonna pull out my mixer for this one. And like I said, all the ingredients you probably already have. It's the usual cast of characters for a cookie dough. So I'm gonna get started by melting 1.5 sticks of butter. This is 3/4 cups of butter. I'm gonna melt this in the very same bowl I'm making it in, just to make it easier. Once this melts, I'm gonna leave it cool for a little bit. So to the melted butter, I'm gonna add our sugars. 1 cup of brown sugar that's packed, light brown sugar, and 2/3 cup of granulated sugar. I'm gonna go ahead and stick that in there. To this, I'm gonna go ahead and add 2 eggs. I'm gonna whisk them in separately. Now I'm gonna go in with a teaspoon of vanilla. Always measure vanilla with your heart. Moving on to the dry ingredients. 2.25 cups of flour, just regular all-purpose flour. To that, I'm gonna add a tablespoon of cornstarch, a teaspoon of baking soda, and a teaspoon of salt. Add this right into the butter sugar mixture. And I'm going to use semi-sweet chocolate chips in these, but you can really use anything that you want. If you've got M&Ms lying around that you want to get rid of, those are great in here. Peanut butter chips, butterscotch chips. If you want to do a combo of peanut butter and chocolate, that would be great also. So these are easily customizable. So as a mix-in, I'm going to use 2 cups of chocolate chips. I'm going to reserve some for pressing on the top. These are great when you're craving a cookie, but you really don't want to sit there and scoop cookies. You just press everything into the pan and bake it off. So I'm using our USA Pan 8x8 square pan. This recipe is awesome for any kind of dessert bar that you're making, brownies, for these chocolate chip bars. I'm not going to line my pan with anything because we don't need it in the USA Pan for any non-stick reasons. You do see all over the internet though, people who use this pan, the 9x9, the 9x13, or even a loaf pan. A lot of people will put in what they call a parchment sling. And that just allows you to take your entire baked good and lift it out of the pan. But like I said, we don't really need that here for a USA Pan. I'm gonna get the dough in the pan. We've smoothed this into an even layer. I'm just gonna go ahead and add some chocolate chips on the top just to make it look pretty. Now I do want you to keep in mind when you're using a USA Pan, because they conduct heat so efficiently, you want to check your baked goods maybe 5 minutes before the recommended bake time, because they usually do bake a little quicker. Okay, in the oven these go, 350 degrees for about 30 to 35 minutes until they're done at the center. So we've baked our bars. I baked these for about 35-40 minutes. You want to make sure that the toothpick inserted in the center comes out clean, which I did. I've cooled them, not completely, which I should have, but I wanted to show you guys how they turned out. Using my plastic knife here because we don't want to scratch our non-stick. Oh my gosh, look at that. Like I said, they needed to set up a little bit more, but look at the thickness on that, how crispy and brown, delicious this got. So good. It smells so wonderful in here. These are great on their own. Even more delicious if you want to top it with some ice cream and some chocolate sauce, caramel sauce, whipped cream. So delicious. Perfect comfort food dessert. So easy to put together. You can see how, like I said, wonderful that turned out. And I'm going to show you the pan. You can see how clean that piece came out, and that is the difference with USA Pan. We hope that you enjoyed spending the day with us as we cook breakfast, lunch, dinner, and my most favorite, dessert. If you try these recipes, let us know, and let us know how you like your pans. Until next time, we'll see you later.